Hey, good morning, everybody, and thank you. It's wonderful to see so many people on a holiday weekend. I hope you all had a enjoyable Fourth, and to also remember not just Independence Day, but Interdependence Day. Well, I just want to formally welcome everybody who's online and also, of course, everyone who's at Nebraska Zen Center in person. Welcome to all of you. A couple of weeks ago, when I offered a talk, I talked about this fascicle of Dogen's called Yui Butsu Yo Butsu. Only Buddha with Buddha. And I want to offer this talk as kind of a guided meditation for us. This first line has really, the very first line in this fascicle of the Shobogenzo, Yui Butsu Yo Butsu, is a bold proclamation, in my view, for modern times and modern people, especially for us in the West. Yui Butsu Yo Butsu is a phrase that comes from the Lotus Sutra, which is a very famous sutra in Mahayana Buddhism. And we recite certain chapters of the Lotus Sutra within the Zen tradition. So it's very important. The entirety of the Lotus Sutra is important. And this fascicle, the title, is based on a verse from the Lotus Sutra, only a Buddha together with a Buddha. But this first line, and those of you who've studied the Shobogenzo know that the first thing that Dogen says is the most important thing. It's the most important line. And if you can get that first line, or usually maybe the first paragraph, that's the kernel of what he's trying to get across. And this first line is really important for understanding the entire fascicle of the Shobogenzo. But I think as it stands alone by itself, it's also a really bold proclamation for our times. It reads, "The Buddha Dharma is not to be known by humans. The Buddha Dharma is not to be known by humans." What is this? What is he getting at here? And I can't begin to tell you what he's getting at. But it sparked my imagination, it sparked my attention in a certain way. First of all, I don't think he's saying that we should devalue in any way human beings. He's not saying human beings are no good. He's not saying that you as a person is not important. That's not what this is about. In my mind, what this is calling us to do is to question, what is it? Who are we? Who are you? All right, this is such an important question to ask ourselves. Anytime in history, it's an important question, but especially at this time in history, where we feel so isolated and disconnected, not only from other human beings, but other life forms, the animals, the plant life, the insentient, the non-sentient beings as well. When we feel so isolated from them, we feel so disconnected from each other. Who are we? Who are you? And this question, unlike modern psychology, like, for example, those of you who may be familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you become self-actualized and you're able to know yourself in a certain way. This is directive. This is directive for this statement. Only a Buddha knows. The Buddha Dharma is not to be known by humans. This question of who are we is not asking us necessarily to find out what we should become, in the sense of the whole world is your oyster and you can do anything you want to do and you've just got to go out there and do it. Rather, my understanding here is that it's asking us, it's directing us in a certain way to notice our relationships, to notice our relationships, that we are not defined by our understanding of a human being. We've been educated, rightly or wrongly, we've been educated to perceive ourselves as human beings. And that's not wrong by any sense. But according to the Buddha Dharma, according to Dogen, we are much more than human beings. So the question remains is, who are we? If we're not just human beings, who are we, or what are we? The Buddha Dharma, this is a bold proclamation, the Buddha Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha cannot be known by human beings. Only a Buddha and a Buddha together. And so Dogen is asking us, from one angle, he's asking us to step into the shoes, step into the mind of a Buddha. What then, if that's the case, what is the mind of the Buddha? What does the Buddha see? How does the Buddha see? And then from that seeing has to follow action, Buddha activity. You can't just see and then go back to life as usual. The Buddha Dharma totally transforms not just our way of seeing the world. It's like pouring new wine into old wineskins. You can't do it. It'll break the old wineskins. You can't go backwards. Once you step into the Buddha view, you cannot go backwards. You can't undo that. And this is a profound thing that's happening all around the planet, not just to Buddhists, not just to people following the Buddha Dharma. However, the Buddha Dharma gives us a framework within which to understand our new perception of who we are. It gives us a scaffolding. So that's the benefit of the Buddha Dharma. But it's not limited by any stretch to Buddhists, to Buddhism. Any one of us from any religion or even non-religion can experience. But the Buddha Dharma asks us to see, Dogen asks us to see with the mind of the Buddha, and then to act from that place, which is profoundly difficult. I'm still trying to act from that place today, and I can't say I've been successful with it, but that's the steps I'm taking towards. I'm walking in that direction. I want to walk in that direction because the other way, the old way of seeing does not work. for us anymore. Right? And we suffer, we come to Zen because we're suffering in some way. None of us would be here if we weren't suffering in some profound way. We weren't somehow deeply discouraged, disappointed, despondent, hopeless, right? These are the things that draw us to a Zen temple and to even want to study the Dharma. So here we are, and Dogen gives us this, it's like a slap in the face, right? He says, the Buddha Dharma cannot be known by humans. What does that mean? So, again, what Dogen meant by it might be something different. There's many possibilities here, and you're welcome. You're by all means welcome to explore what could that possibly mean for you and for your life, that the Buddha Dharma cannot be known by humans. I want to share where I'm going with this particular statement, and you can take it or leave it. It's up to you. If it's helpful, I'm grateful. If it's not, just find out what it means for you, that the Buddha Dharma cannot be known by humans. So I want to invite us to come to a meditative body. Bring your body into a upright posture, right? The eyes soft, the muscles relaxed. All right, sit like a Buddha. Sit like a Buddha under the Bodhi tree. You could almost just see Bodhi trees springing up from the ground behind you. You're back to the Bodhi tree. And here you are sitting in Magadha, in a forest of Bodhi trees, with all kinds of creatures all around you. The sounds of owls at the nighttime, deer, bugs swarming around, sometimes biting, sweat, the smell, the stenches, but also the breeze, the fragrance of flowers. Be that Buddha sitting under your Bodhi tree, breathing in and breathing out, noticing your breathing, your inhale and your exhale. Allow the Buddha to breathe your breath in and out. Allow the Buddha to relax his or her body. Soften the muscles in your shoulders and neck. Soften the muscles in the face, around the forehead. Allow the breath to go deep into the body, and feel the body expand as you breathe in. As you exhale, watch the body contract. Notice the whole body contracting with your exhale. Mind and body in harmony through conscious breathing. And think of all the animals alive right now, expanding and contracting their own breath. The bears and the cats and dogs, the deer, all the animals expanding and contracting with each breath, just like yours. As you breathe in, notice your 4 limbs, arms and legs. Feel the sensation of your arms and legs as you inhale. As you exhale, recall all those animals with 4 legs, the cats, the dogs, the deer, the bear. As you breathe out, notice, remember, recall the 4-leggeds, the animals with 4 limbs, just like yours. As you breathe in, notice your arms. As you breathe out, recall the birds. Their arms become wings, carrying them here and there. Our arms are their wings. Breathing in, notice your arms. Breathing out, notice the wings of a bird. As you breathe in, notice your spine. Feel the spine as it expands on the in-breath and contracts on the out-breath. The spine then turns 90 degrees to the ground and becomes a frog, or a lizard, or a snake. Same vertebra. The spine turns again and becomes a fish, breathing in through gills that turned in for us to lungs. The eyes are in the front of the fish. Two eyes. A mouth. Just like the fish, we have two eyes and a mouth. As you breathe in, notice the carbon element in you. As you breathe out, carbon dioxide. Notice the element, the atom of carbon within you as you breathe in. Breathing out, carbon dioxide. Breathing in oxygen from a tree. Breathing in oxygen produced from the sun and a tree and the earth. Breathing in the sunshine. Breathing in the earth. See yourself as the whole earth. Breathing in, breathing out. The rivers, the lakes, the oceans also in your body are your body. And the stars, the galaxies, also our body. Continually supporting us. the sunlight supporting us. The movement of the stars and the galaxies also supporting us beyond what we can comprehend. Humans can't know it. The Buddha knows it. The Buddhas know it. Under the Bodhi tree, again, in the body of a Buddha. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhaling the Buddha's breath. Exhaling the Buddha's breath. Thank you very much.